He ran after any female figure he saw and grabbed any breast at sight, inappropriately squeezing and spanking the maid's backside. The palace of Umuofia was a magnificent structure, a symbol of the kingdom's strength and history. Tall, intricately carved wooden pillars supported attached roofs, and the walls were adorned with vibrant murals, depicting the kingdom's glorious past. The air was always filled with the sounds of drums and flutes, blending harmoniously with the laughter of children and the murmurs of court officials. Umuofia itself was a land of abundant greenery, with fertile fields stretching as far as the eye could see. The people were known for their craftsmanship, their markets bustling with colorful fabrics, pottery, and the aroma of freshly cooked food. Festivals were frequent, celebrating the harvest, the rains, and the gods who blessed their land. It was a place where tradition and community were deeply cherished. There lived the king whose lineage stretched back to the beginning of time. This king, Eze Obinna, was blessed with a loving wife, Nora, and his son, Prince Ikemefola. The land thrived under Eze Obinna's rule, but tragedy struck when Nora passed away during the birth of their daughter, Ada Obodo. The void she left behind was profound, and the palace was engulfed in grief. The kingdom of Umuofia was in mourning for the beloved queen Nora. Eze Obinna, the wise and just ruler, found solace in the presence of his children, Ikemefola and Adobodo. However, the absence of a mother figure was palpable. After much contemplation, the king decided to marry Wamiri, the chief maid who had shown exceptional care and devotion to Adobodo since her birth. Wamiri entered the palace with grace and humility, winning the affection of many, including Prince Ikemefola. Her gentle demeanor and attentive nature made her a seemingly perfect addition to the royal family. She soon bore a son, Ago, further solidifying her place within the family. Ikemefola, who spent most of his time with his father, saw Wamiri as a motherly figure and trusted her implicitly. Behind her kind facade, Wamiri harbored resentment towards Adobodo and Prince Ikemefola. She treated the young princess with cruelty whenever they were alone. Adobodo, though young, sensed the malevolence in Wamiri's actions, but was unable to articulate her suffering. Ikemefola, obvious to this mistreatment, continued to encourage Adobodo to love Wamiri as he did. Despite Wamiri's efforts to create discord, Ikemefola and Adobodo's bond remained strong. Ikemefola's love for his stepmother blinded him to her faults, but Adobodo, having endured her wrath, harbored deep mistrust. She only pretended to be at peace with Wamiri when their father was around. Wamiri, while appearing kind and gentle, harbored a complex mix of emotions. She often found herself torn between genuine affection for the royal children and a deep-seated ambition for her own son Ago. She justified her harsh treatment of Adobodo by convincing herself that it was necessary for the child's future, her child. Her thoughts were a tangled web of love, jealousy, and ambition, driving her actions within the palace walls. Life in the palace was structured and vibrant. Mornings began with the sound of the gong, calling everyone to the day's activities. Ikemefola's days were filled with lessons from his father, learning the art of governance, justice, and warfare. He also trained with the kingdom's best warriors, honing his skills in archery, swordsmanship, and strategy. Adobodo spent her days learning the arts and traditions of her people. She was taught to weave, to sing the ancient songs, and to understand the herbal medicines that her mother had once known. Despite her tender age, she showed remarkable intelligence and resilience, much to the pride of her father. Wamiri, while fulfilling her duties as queen, secretly plotted her strategies. She maintained a facade of equality, treating all children with apparent fairness. However, behind closed doors, her true nature surfaced, and Adobodo bore the brunt of her frustrations and ambitions. Soon, the kids became adults, and Ikemefola's training sections with his father became more rigorous and enlightening. Eze Obinna would often take him to the Council of Elders, where Ikemefola learned the complexities of leadership. The young prince absorbed lessons on diplomacy, justice, and the importance of listening to his people. This angered Wamiri, who felt cheated. She expected the king to give both Ago and Ikemefola same attention and opportunities. She dreamt in her heart that her son Ago will be the king against all odds. She was ready to bring that dream to pass, and so started plotting ways to win the people to her side. The political landscape of Umuofia was intricate. The kingdom was divided into several clans, each led by its own chiefs and elders. While Eze Obinna was the supreme ruler, the chiefs held significant power and influence. Wamili recognized this and began to subtly manipulate these relationships. She hosted lavish feasts and private meetings, slowly weaving her web of influence. She planted seeds of doubt about Ikemefola's suitability to rule, hinting at Ago's potential as a more pliable leader. Her actions created ripples of uncertainty, which she hoped would one day turn into waves of support for her son. As she was busy influencing the chiefs with gifts and talking down on Ikemefola, Ago and Ikemefola became so close and inseparable. She noticed it and knew that it will hinder her plans, so she attempted to create a rift between Ikemefola and Ago, but it was ultimately unsuccessful. She orchestrated situations where Ago appeared to be in conflict with Ikemefola, hoping to provoke jealousy and rivalry. However, Ikemefola's unwavering love for his brother thwarted her plans. In one instance, Wamiri arranged for a prized possession of Ikemefola to be found in Ago's quarters, suggesting theft. Ikemefola, instead of reacting with anger, calmly spoke to Ago, who tearfully denied any wrongdoing. Ikemefola believed his brother, and the incident only strengthened their bond, much to Wamiri's frustration. Wamiri, growing desperate, turned to a witch, known for her knowledge of dark arts. This woman, Ojiugo, was a feared figure in the neighboring village, known for her ability to manipulate fate through rituals and curses. Wamiri visited her in secret, sharing her frustrations and ambitions. She suggested Ojiugo kill the prince, but Ojiugo told her the prince can't just be killed like that the covenant that covers them forbids mortals from killing a royal blood. She then told her that she can make him appear mad and immoral, and by so doing, he would be disqualified from being the king, paving way for Ago, her son. Ojiugo suggested a powerful ritual that could make Ikemefola misbehave and appear mad. The ritual required the sacrifice of a white cock to be buried beside Ikemefola's hut while chanting curses. Following this, Wamiri would need to kill a black cock and cook it for Ikemefola, reciting specific incantations. Over 3 nights, Wamiri carried out the ritual with a mix of fear and determination. She chanted the curses, calling for Ikemefola's downfall. Each night, the weight of her actions grew heavier, but her resolve to secure Ago's future kept her going. The final night was the most intense, and as she completed the ritual, she felt a dark energy settling over the palace. The next day, Ikemefola's behavior suddenly changed. He started acting abnormal, holding his manhood and laughing abnormally. He ran after any female figure he saw and grabbed any breast at sight, inappropriately squeezing and spanking the maid's backside. He became erratic, engaging in calculated theft, violence, and immoral acts. He began raping maids and going after any woman, either married or not. Villagers cried to the palace, urging for the execution of the prince. But the love the king had for his son couldn't bring him to accept their pleas. He assured them that the prince is only sick and will soon get treatment. The rumors of Prince Ikemefola traveled far and wide. He appeared so natural and normal when he was alone with men, but once he sights a female figure, he runs wild. Some believed he was a pervert, while others believed he was a sex addict. And some other villagers believed he had been cursed by the gods. One sunny afternoon, Prince Ikemefola strolled into a farm after breaking open the door of the room he was locked in. He saw an old woman with her daughter at the farm and descended on her young daughter of 15 years old. Being old and weak, she couldn't do much. She ran to go get help, and by the time she returned, Prince Ikemefola had devoured her granddaughter, leaving her in pain and tears. The village youths on sighting this chanted in anger, some holding planks, branches of trees, and brooms, while others just cried for the young innocent girl who her future just got tarnished forever. They chanted till they got to the palace and reported the incident to the king. The king, on hearing this, became heartbroken, shattered, and speechless. How did my son become a beast? He thought to himself. I raised a very decent man. What happened to my beloved son? The king pleaded with the youths and promised that Ikemefola must marry the young girl, when she came of age. He ordered the guards to tie him up and let the youths unleash their anger on him. Prince Ikemefola was brought, tied up, and the angry youths unleashed their anger on him. He wailed and wailed until he could no longer cry. The guards, noticing him becoming weak, rescued him and took him in for treatment. His actions were so out of character that the people of Umuofia were shocked and dismayed. His reputation, once pristine, was now tarnished. Prince Ikemefola, after committing these atrocities, will come back to his senses for some minutes and cry out his eyes, begging his father to forgive him, that he didn't know why he did what he did. So, with that, the king knew it was more of a sickness. Though heartbroken, he resolved in his heart that he will do anything to cure his son. He sought help from various healers and wise men, but no one could cure Ikemefola. The palace was in turmoil, and the future of the kingdom seemed uncertain. Ezobina, though aging and weakened, refused to give up on his son. Meanwhile, Nwamiri became so happy with the success of her plan, she sent gifts through her personal trusted maid to Ojugo the witch, thanking her for the success of the charm she gave her. Nwamiri, seeing the king in deep sorrow, pretended to sympathize with him. She even helped him sort for healers for Ikemefola, knowing fully well that they couldn't heal him. Behind the back, she celebrated her victory and persuaded her son to cut off every association with Prince Ikemefola. Ikemefola's actions became increasingly disturbing. He would wander the palace grounds at night, masturbating openly. He stole valuable items from the marketplace, assaulted elders, and even harassed young maidens. The people of Umuofia were bewildered and afraid, unsure of how to respond to their once beloved prince's descent into what seemed to be madness. Ezobina, distraught over his son's transformation, called upon healers, spiritual leaders, and wise men from across the land. Each one examined Ikemefola, but none could provide a cure. The king's health deteriorated further as he grappled with the possibility of losing his son and his kingdom's future. Adobodo, noticing the sudden and drastic change in her brother, grew suspicious of Nwamiri. She believed there was more to Ikemefola's behavior than meets the eye. She had a keen sense of observation and began to quietly gather information. She spoke with servants and trusted advisors, looking for any signs or evidence of Nwamiri's involvement. Adobodo's investigations revealed subtle but telling clues. She learned about Nwamiri's secret visits to Ojugo and the strange rituals she had performed. Though she lacked concrete proof, her instincts told her that Nwamiri was behind Ikemefola's affliction. She knew she had to act quickly to save her brother and their kingdom. Adobodo approached Ikemefola, trying to break through the haze that clouded his mind. She reminded him of their mother, their shared memories and the bond they had. It was a struggle, but slowly, bits of the real Ikemefola surfaced again. He agreed to seek help, trusting his sister's judgment. Together, they embarked on a journey to find a renowned seer who was said to have powerful insight and healing abilities. The journey was fraught with danger. They faced hostile villagers who mistrusted Ikemefola, wild animals, natural obstacles like treacherous rivers and dense forest. At one point, a group of bandits attacked them, drawn by rumors of Ikemefola's instability. Ikemefola, despite his unstable state, defended his sister with fierce determination. This act of bravery further convinced Adobodo that her brother was still in there, fighting to break free. Whenever the demon in Ikemefola reared up its ugly head, Adobodo would stay far from him, singing, "I am your sister, your beloved sister. We share the same womb. Please cast that demon for the sake of our mother." And whenever she said those, Ikemefola's libido suddenly turned down, and they would continue their journey. After days of travel, finally reached the seer's dwelling place, deep within the forest. The seer, an elderly woman with eyes that seemed to pierce through one's souls, welcomed them. She listened to their plight and performed a series of rituals to understand the nature of Ikemefola's affliction. The seer confirmed Adobodo's suspicions. She explained that Ikemefola was under a powerful curse, placed by someone close to him. The ritual that Nwamiri performed had twisted his mind and spirit. The seer prescribed a counter ritual that would require great courage and strength from both siblings. To break the curse, the seer instructed them to find a rare herb that grew only in the deepest part of the forbidden forest. The forest was a place of mystery and danger, said to be guarded by ancient spirits and mythical creatures. Armed with the seer's guidance and their determination, Ikemefola and Adobodo entered the forest. The forest was unlike any place they had seen. The air was thick with mist, and the trees seemed to whisper ancient secrets. Shadows danced to the corners of their vision, and strange sounds echoed around them. The forest was alive, watching and testing them. Their journey through the forest was filled with trials. They encountered a wise tortoise who demanded they solve a riddle to pass. They met a river spirit who required them to perform a task to earn her blessing. Each encounter tested their virtues, wisdom, patience, bravery, and brought them closer to their goal. After days of navigating the forest challenges, they finally found the herb. It grew in a clearing bathed in an ethereal light, guarded by the forester's ancient spirit. The spirit, recognizing their determination and purity of heart, allowed them to take the herb, warning them of the final trial they would face upon leaving the forest. As they exited the forest, they were confronted by a monstrous creature, a guardian of the forest's secret. Ikemefola, now regaining his strength and clarity of mind, fought the creature with the help of Adobodo. Together, they managed to defeat it, proving their worth and securing their escape from the forest. With the herb in hand, Ikemefola and Adobodo returned to the palace. The journey had strengthened their bond and renewed Ikemefola's sense of purpose. They were ready to confront Wamiri and restore their family's honor. Adobodo and Ikemefola prepared meticulously. They gathered evidence of Wamiri's treachery, spoke to the servants who had witnessed her cruelty, and rallied the support of trusted allies within the court. The time had come to expose the truth. In a dramatic assembly of the court, Ikemefola and Adobodo presented their case. The evidence was overwhelming. Testimonies from servants, the ritual items found in Wamiri's chambers, and the seer's revelations. Wamiri's facade crumbled under the weight of her own deceit. Ezo bin Nado had broken, acted swiftly and justly. Wamiri was stripped of her titles and banished from the kingdom. Her departure was met with a mix of relief and sorrow. The people of Umuofia, though pained by the betrayal, looked forward to a new era of honesty and justice. With the dark influence removed, the kingdom began to heal. Ikemefola, with the support of his father and sister, worked tirelessly to restore the people's faith in the royal family. He traveled throughout Umuofia, listening to the concerns of the people and addressing their needs with compassion and wisdom. Ikemefola and Adobodo's bond grew even stronger. Their shared ordeal had forged an unbreakable connection, and they supported each other through the kingdom's recovery. Adobodo, despite her young age, emerged as a wise and compassionate advisor, beloved by the people for her courage and integrity. Ago, initially caught in his mother's ambitions, chose to stand by his brother. He apologized for any misunderstandings and worked to prove his loyalty to Ikemefola and the kingdom. Ikemefola, understanding the pain and confusion Ago must have felt, forgave him and welcomed him back with open arms. Together, they strengthened the unity within the royal family. As the king's health continued to decline, he imparted his final wisdom to Ikemefola, ensuring that his son was ready to lead. Ezo bin spoke of justice, compassion, and the importance of staying true to one's values. The people of Umuofia, seeing Ikemefola's transformation and dedication, embraced him as their future. Under Ikemefola's leadership, Umuofia entered a new era of prosperity and peace. The rivers sang of his bravery, and the forest whispered tales of his journey. The legend of Prince Ikemefola and Princess Adobodo became a beacon of hope and resilience, inspiring generations to come. Nora's memory was honored through Ikemefola's actions. He ensured that the values she held dear, kindness, justice, and wisdom, were upheld in every decision he made. The palace became a place of learning and growth, where the next generation of leaders were nurtured. Ikemefola established councils where the voices of the people could be heard. He believed in the strength of unity and the wisdom of collective decision-making. The kingdom flourished as the people felt valued and respected. As Ikemefola looked to the future, he saw a kingdom strong in unity and purpose. The bonds of family, forged in adversity, were unbreakable. The lessons learned through hardship had made them wiser, more compassionate leaders. The story of Princess Ikemefola and Princess Adobodo was passed down through the generations, a testament to the power of love, resilience, and justice. The trials they faced and the triumph they achieved became the foundation of a legacy that would endure for all time. Lastly, Ikemefola married a young girl, now up to age of 18 years old, whom he'd raped, and they made a fine couple because her heart was open and forgiving towards him. The end.